Hey everyone, and welcome to Multiplane Podcast. This is episode 30. Ty. I'm Val. This is
30.
Ty. We're so excited, and I'm really excited that we're talking about Soul for our 30th episode because I really enjoyed this movie on a lot of different levels. So we're going to talk about that. But first, we want to get into some Disney news and updates. I'm going to start with the bad news first because I just want to make the show get better. Ty, tell us about Tron.
So basically, at this point, and you have to look at, of course, Disney's losing money, so they have to work what they can with their budget. And right now, they're not having enough money to basically build the ride. The construction crew had to be taken off the project. They're not having things go on. Yeah, it's a little sad.
I mean, obviously the economy is not going well. Their biggest moneymaker is the parks. They've had to shut down the parks, and so a lot of what their budgets that they have to do, it has to be changed a little bit. So I'm sure that they have a plan. But right now I'm just hoping that I don't like to hear that it's over budget and they have to fire people because I don't want more people to lose jobs over there.
Yeah.
We want the parks to open up as soon as possible. And I've already told my family, like, as soon as it opens, I'm getting in my car and I'm going. If you want to go with me, great. If you don't want to go with me, that's fine, but I'm going to be there for at least a day. So, we definitely want it to open up. We want, things to get finished, but I want to ride this ride because you keep telling me about this ride. So,
and I'm really curious about how the aesthetic of it is going to be, because the only other one is over in Shanghai.
Right.
So it's like you're going to get a new facelift for Disney World, of course. So I'm curious on what it's going to look like for that. Essentially, it'll be the same ride, but different intro aesthetic. Tracy,
I'm so glad you're joining us. So Tracy just got back from Disney World yesterday. Hopefully, I'm just going to say it because then we've pigeonholed him. He's going to be on our 31st episode next week, and we're going to talk all about Disney World. But more importantly, we're also going to talk about the world of Disney running, marathons, 5K, and oh, he has to bounce in a minute. So hopefully you guys will be at our next week's episode and tune in because he actually went to the parks. I want to hear all about how they're doing things there and how the runs work. I have witnessed the runs. Like my ex-husband used to do the 5K and the half marathon. And we would eat beignets and wave at everyone while they were going by. But I have promised Tracy that in 2022, I would do a half marathon with him at Disneyland. So
yeah, hopefully a bunch of us from the Stolen Droids family were planning on it.
You said you're going to come, right? And I'm hoping that it's going to be the Star Wars one. It's not that I don't like princesses, but I don't like to really run. So if I'm going to run, I kind of want to run for a medal that's like Marvel or Star Wars or something. I don't really want like a princess medal. Is that bad?
So my big debate is, am I going to wear my new Jedi robes to that? Like, am I going to really attempt to run in those?
No.
And it's not like costume fabric either. It's full canvas, like heavy, legit. Yeah. So
Tracy, tell him not to run in the robes. I've seen what people dress up in, and it's so funny because you'll be at the starting line and it's like way early in the morning and it's dark and everybody's got their tutus on and full on costumes. And then as I see some of the same people going over the finish line, they're missing half of their stuff because it just gets in the way or it's too hot. I'm going to wear, I think, like some kind of Star Wars, like spandexy thing. And I'm going to practice running in it before. So we'll talk to him next week about like the do's and the don'ts of how to run that Disney marathon because he's done this a lot. I'm really handsy today. Sorry. But I'm super excited to talk with him next week. Hopefully you guys will tune in because it's so much fun. And I can't wait to hear about the park. He got to do so many great things. He posted, and we'll share some of his pictures and videos as well. The food, right? and they were doing an arts festival. Anyway, we'll talk about that all next week.
Yeah.
We have so much to talk about this week. One thing that I wanted to announce is that Ben Affleck is going to direct a new live action Disney movie based on the Keeper of the Lost City novels. Now, you guys know that Ty is usually the reader of us, but I've actually read the first one of those, so I know how good these stories are. And I super love Ben Affleck as a director and a screenwriter. He is going to direct it, co-screenwrite it, and co-produce it. Now, he directed Argo, which won awards, and it was an absolutely fantastic movie. And if you guys remember, his first Academy Award was for co-screenwriting one of my all-time favorite movies, Good Will Hunting. So I think this is a good position for him, and I'm excited to kind of see how this goes. Another announcement is that Chris Evans is going to reprise his role as Captain America. Now, there have been rumors that this is going to happen, and also rumors that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back as Iron Man. This is the thing, you guys. They have announced so many projects that it's not that they might be coming back to a live action movie. There are so many different entities now in the Marvel Cinematic and web series and television series and Disney Plus series things. They could show up anywhere. So they haven't told us exactly where this is going to happen, but is this something you're excited about, Ty, or are you kind of over it and saying move on?
Captain America, I've always been over it. I'm sorry, and it's nothing against Chris Evans. I am not a Cap fan. I never have. I probably never will be. I'm sorry. And that's like, you tell me that we're coming close to Winter Soldier and the Falcon, and I'm like, woo.
Yeah, I'm not sure about how Winter Soldier and Falcon are going to be. I like those characters, but I like them in a group setting. And so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. However, there's another show that I wasn't quite sure about when they announced WandaVision.
Tomorrow,
WandaVision is going to be on Disney Plus. Now, it's going to be the first 2 episodes. So don't think that you can just go and watch everything. I've seen the first 2 episodes, Ty. This was one
what?
But I won't give any spoilers, but I'm going to give you my assessment of this. So when I first heard about this, I do like Wanda and I do like Vision, and I love their chemistry together in the movies. And I thought when they did their sections alone by themselves, I thought, okay, this is something. But then when I got the idea of WandaVision, when they said, okay, it's going to be, through all different space and time kind of thing, I was like, I don't know, maybe. So I watched the first 2 episodes. The first one goes a little slow. So don't think, if you think you're going to go in and you're going to be watching the MCU, you're not.
I don't care. I'm happy that
you're not. Right. But I think a lot of people that have just seen the movies, they haven't read the comics, they're expecting like this fast-paced moving something. That's not what you're going to get. This is a mix between, I would say, like I Love Lucy. I got that kind of vibe. If you're a Quantum Leap kind of person or a Black Mirrors kind of person, it's this weird dimension that they're in, and they're in different time periods. So I kind of also got that just different vibes of like the older movies. So it's definitely weird. It definitely takes a little bit to get used to, but I think I kind of dig it. Like, it's so different from everything that Marvel has done with these characters that I think it's going to work. But I think you just have to give into it, because I think you're either going to really love it or you're going to hate it.
Here's what I have to say about it, guys. And this is me, not like Val, who has watched it. This is me saying that this is a setup series. I promise you, it's coming to bigger things.
Okay, so without giving too much away, while you're watching it, especially in episode 2, there are going to be things that you're going to want to pay attention to. I mean, Marvel and Disney are both good at giving you cues and clues for other things that are coming. I've seen 3 episodes. There are 2 coming out tomorrow. 2 and 3 kind of gets you in this forward motion. There are parts where it takes place in like the 50s, 60s. Then there's another one where it takes place in the 70s. If you're, kind of a fan of I Dream of Jeannie and that whole, not the Genie part of it, but that kind of time and that, I guess I want to say, what is the word I'm looking for? There's just, it's hokey, but it's meaningful. And I love it, but in such a different way that I loved them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're playing off of things that we already love and that gives us nostalgia, but then it also adds in that kind of Black Mirror's weird storyline that changes, but also has something to do with what it's so hard to describe. But I don't want to give away more because I really do want to see, like, I want to talk about this next week when we've seen it. So you can tell me what you think. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to put my thoughts on you, right?
It's going to take over our Mando Friday night prime time. So yeah,
Well,
that's going to be my new.
And the great thing is you can sit down the kids and watch this with them. They may, like, again, the first episode, they might be like, well, it's not really moving fast enough for me. But I think it is going to be, remember when we used to sit down with Disney and we used to watch everything with our family, on Friday nights. So, that one show. And I think this can be that show. And I definitely think there are going to be surprises and there are going to be things that connect us to other worlds within the Marvel universe, which I'm very excited about. Yeah.
Already know, like I said.
Super excited. Right now, I'm giving it a solid B, but again, I haven't seen the whole season, so I can't really give it more than that. But so far, I really want to see more. I'm not done with it.
Just last few seconds, I'll take up on this. I'm telling you guys right now, I can almost guarantee you we are going to have moments like what you had if you're Mando fans. I guarantee you we're going to have moments where like Neff and me kind of like freaked out when they hinted that Ahsoka was coming in. You're going to have moments where Boba is hinted and revealed to where you're like, oh, we are going to have MCU moments like that coming. And that's why this in particular, because Wanda, more of the supernatural side, and that's where I jam in Marvel is their supernatural characters. So I'm telling you, it is the setup, and I cannot wait to see.
Clip. I wish I could show it to you. I'm going to be showing it on Good Things Utah tomorrow morning for WandaVision, but there's a clip that they sent us that we can talk about, so I don't feel bad giving this away. And I think it might be in the trailer, a small part of it. But you've got them in a black and white scene, and they're in separate beds, and Vision's over here sleeping, and Wanda's over here sleeping, and he's like, "Oh, Wanda, are you turning the lights on and off with your powers?" And she's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Let me help you." And he gets out of bed and he turns the light on. Like, it's like cheesy, but at the same time, like, you're like, if I had those powers, I would try and do that too. But also if it was Leave It to Beaverland, like having those powers back then, like, is so silly, but also just fun. You know what I mean? So I would say give it a chance. Even if you think that episode 1, you're kind of like, I don't know. Go to episode 2. I promise they're doing things for a reason.
Also, another Marvel news, guys. Disney Parks announced that Disneyland this year, DCA would be opening Marvel Campus. And me and Val were talking about this, and we don't think they would have made that announcement if they didn't know something that we all don't know. So
yeah, they said that we were going to be able to see Marvel Campus this year, 2021. They haven't named any dates. So Disney doesn't ever make an announcement without a plan. So I'm pretty sure they have an idea of when, at least a ballpark idea of when they're going to open the parks. The fact that they turned the Disneyland parking lot into a big super bubble of immunizations this week for COVID-19, that was amazing. If you didn't see that story, I'll post it on our Facebook page. But they were the first super bubble of this COVID-19, basically immunization station. So people, because you can just fill it all with cars. People show up with cars. They give them the vaccine. They don't even have to get out of the car. And they said that Disneyland in Anaheim has the most employees. And so to get them all vaccinated and to get Anaheim vaccinated is just like the first step in the right direction. So they know something. And the fact that they announced it, I'm just super excited. And I'll post it. I'll go live like, okay, you guys, they've announced it. Who's getting in their car? Because I'm going. I'm going. My boyfriend's like, we're getting married this year. We don't have money. I'm like, I will figure it out. I will figure it out.
We're sitting on our vacation money. We're literally waiting for Disneyland to say we're open, and then we're like, "Okay, book the trip. Let's go."
Right. All right, let's talk about it. Soul. It's been out since Christmas Day on Disney Plus. I've had a chance to watch it a few times. And what did you think about this movie?
Saying that I've watched it a few times has been an understatement. My 4-year-old on a regular basis has been like, "Dad, let's watch Soul. Let's watch Soul." And I'm just like, "Alice, we have watched Soul enough. Give me something else." I'll be honest with you. I mean, and then a lot of you guys know this. I went into this movie with an expectation. I was getting major Inside Out vibes, and I'm not a fan of Inside Out at all. I'm sure we
Oh,
get hate mail. Like, I'm sure people think less of me for like, that's the most beautiful Pixar film. I'm like, no, I
no.
can't
I
do
know a
Inside
lot of
Out.
people, I think people either really like it or really hate it. It's not one of those that you're like, oh yeah, I'll watch it if it's on. My daughter didn't care for it at all, and I absolutely loved it. But I think it's because when we went and saw it together, I was the mom of the girl that was going through puberty, and she was the girl that was going through puberty. So it was like this awkward moment. I was like, yes, this explains everything. And she's like, I hate life. So I think, that I think it's not one of the ones that sticks out to everyone as a favorite, like Up. But so did you not like Soul then?
I did. Well, okay. I have ups and downs with it. So let me just say my favorite part was Terry. I mean, you give me Rachel House and I'm going to love it.
Right.
So Rachel House is probably my favorite part of the whole movie. It's Terry time. Um,
I mean, I thought Tina Fey did a great job. So we've got Jamie Foxx, Tina
which love
Fey.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx plays Joe. He's the main character. Tina plays 22, who is the other main character. You have David Diggs, who plays Paul. He's also from Hamilton, if you're not aware of that. There's just a lot of really great characters in this movie. And so, you've got Angela Bassett, you've got Questlove, you've got,
Oh, my other favorite
Alicia
character,
Rashad. There's just a ton of great people in this movie.
Graham Norton playing Moonwind, dude. Moonwind is
Yes, that's
like
so
an example of how to live life to the fullest.
It's so him. It's so him. So the basis of this movie is that Jamie Foxx's character Joe, he, like a lot of us, like he's kind of in his midlife. He has been trying to like break in to be a jazz musician his entire life. He's he's a like after school music teacher, part-time music teacher, so not even full-time. Which takes a lot of patience, by the way, if you're teaching young children or band at a school, because we've all been to those concerts and it's not all amazing music. It's really difficult. And so he's doing that, plus also trying to do the nightlife of being a jazz musician. And it just hasn't worked out the way that he thought. And then finally, he gets his chance, right? He gets this chance to go and play for this musician with this band, and he's all excited. He's got, everything going for him. He's not paying attention on his cell phone, which is a lesson in itself. He falls down a manhole and dies. And then everything kind of goes from there into this really crazy world of where does he end up? He refuses to die because this is the chance he's been waiting for. And he's just like, I'm not going up there, to heaven. And he jumps off the stairway to heaven and he ends up where all of the babies are in the pre-world. What do they call it? I can't remember.
At first it was the Great Beyond, but then it's the they changed the name for marketing.
Okay. Well, I don't remember what they called that world, but so then he's there with all of basically the pre-souls.
The youth seminar.
Okay.
Youth seminar.
And this is where things I think kind of get a little fun. And he meets 22 because he becomes a mentor. He's like, if I become a mentor, then I can tag on to one of these little pre-souls and I can get back to Earth. And he pretends to be somebody that he's not. He just grabs a name tag and he pretends to be somebody he's not. And 22 is like, just does not want to be born. Is this like, I don't want to be born. I don't want to go to Earth. This is Tina Fey's character, which I think she is absolutely amazing in this. Nobody, they said everybody's tried to be her mentor and to get her to Earth, like everyone from Mother Teresa to presidents of the United States, to, like all of these
All these
people.
great world leaders.
And nobody can mentor her. And so now it's up to Joe. They accidentally end up getting back to Earth. He turns into a cat, which I didn't think I was going to like very much. I thought that was going to be super stupid. But I actually really enjoyed it because you got to see how his life could be through someone's eyes that wasn't stuck. And I think there's time in our lives, and you're still kind of a baby, Ty. I don't mean that in a rude way, but you're still very young.
I am.
But there's time when you get stuck in your life and you feel like, how am I stuck? And how do I get out of this stuck? And how do I see things in a different way? And it's very much you see things through, if you could see things through a children's eyes, you would see things in such a different way. And she made his life way more enjoyable than he ever did.
My thing with this, so a couple things that I wanted to expect out of it. One of the fun things I think that Pixar missed that they could have done. So I love looking for Easter eggs in Pixar movies. It's like the go-to. If you're a diehard Disney and Pixar person, you know that the universes are all connected somehow. And there's always a fun handful of Easter eggs to try to pick out and, find in each world. So before we go over some of the fun, obvious ones, I really think they missed an opportunity. So after Joe dies, and like you said, he's on this escalator that's basically going to take him to the great beyond.
Right.
I really wish some of the souls that he was trying to run past, I really wish we had Pixar characters that were kind of hidden in these souls.
That would have been really fun.
And but even some of the mentors, anyone there was not one other Pixar character that represented a soul. And I was like, oh, come on. You could have, I'm trying to think of who I would have wanted to see that could have been fun in this movie.
I think especially how they're putting them all into categories before they're born, like a Dory character that just keeps starting over. Like a little kid that's a Dory character would have been really fun.
Well, yeah, and then you see the cat soul on the conveyor when Jerry takes over the cat body.
All of the dead parents of all of the Disney characters.
Yeah. Well, I guess you didn't even have to narrow it down to other Pixar characters. You could have done Disney characters that, yeah.
Anna and Elsa's mom are going up the oh,
let it go. Let it. Oh man, we're terrible.
The guy from Up, his wife is just there holding her little book. Yeah,
I would have cried.
Cool, but maybe
I would have cried at that one.
Maybe it would have taken away from what we were supposed to be paying attention to. I don't know. But I mean, I think I do love the Easter eggs. I do love all that kind of stuff, but it was super fun. I really loved one of the scenes I really loved was the scene in the barbershop.
Yes.
Him as a cat in there, and then you have 22 as him getting his hair cut. And everyone in the barbershop is talking to him. And he's been going to that barbershop his whole life. He didn't know anything about these people. And by the time he's done getting his hair cut, he's there probably an hour later. And he's been talking to everybody. And the guy's like, I didn't know this about you. He's like, well, you never asked.
You just talk about jazz.
Yeah. And that's how many times do we get caught in our own lives that we go into a situation, we see the same people every day, but we don't actually ask about them because we're so much in a hurry about trying to get to our own thing. And that's something I really have to work on because every time you and I thought about this, every time you and I get together, we're so focused on what we have to do here that we've been doing a show for almost a year together. And I know it's been COVID and stuff, but like, we should know more about each other, but it's just like we get so caught up in what we think we need to be doing that we don't pay attention to the people that are right there in front of our face that could enrich us in a bigger way, I guess. Is that too cheesy? That barbershop scene, if I could cut that scene out and just show it to everyone, I think it's a good way to learn a lesson about life for sure.
I was about to say, you know what another fun one would be? I think in this one you've seen a rat trying to carry away a piece of pizza. You could have at least given me Remy trying to carry that piece of pizza away.
Remy's brother.
Yeah. I'm like, that would have been another fun Easter egg. I'm trying to think of one of my other favorite scenes from this movie. I
Oh, go ahead.
I liked the scene where they were in the subway just before they got on the train, where you have this musician who is playing his guitar. And he's like, you only like music because of me. And it's like, no, this was a really in-depth scene.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that musician, I wish we could have had more of him in the movie because I really liked that scene.
Yeah, I thought there would be a little more music incorporated in the film. I did like the music that was incorporated, but I thought there would be a little bit more. Samson wanted to join us, so Samson's here. I also really liked the way that they incorporated, like, when you zone out, this is where you go.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's where I go when I zone out. Like, I just thought it was so great. Like, what a great idea. Just so, I don't know, so creative.
Okay, since we're talking about that, actually, no, you're right. That trumps anything that I'm going to think about now. That space that you can visit. I also like how it shows, one guy who's into metal detecting and doing stuff like that. And if you turn it into something that's more of an obsession than, an enjoyment,
yeah,
you turn into one of those things that are just aimlessly wandering.
Yeah. It's good. And I think that's a big point of the movie is that it's good to have goals and it's good to really love something. But when you become obsessed with something that you don't see other things that are going on in your life, you almost become a zombie. You know what I mean? You're missing out on so many other things. And that's what they go and they tackle all of those people that have turned into these basically drones of themselves. And I thought that was really cool. Anytime, though, you could put a pirate in a movie, like I just loved how they transferred him into that into that world in a pirate ship and everything. I just thought it was great. And I love the little counter guy.
Terry,
I love him so much.
It's Terry time. Gotta find your little soul. Well, first, I didn't have a full scale of like who the cast was on this for a second. So as soon as I heard Terry, I'm like, wait a second, is that Rachel House? Like, this movie will be that much better for me if that is Rachel House. And she's obsessed with finding it. She literally almost reprises her role that she has in Hunt for the Wilder People because she is the same character who's like, no, I have to find this person. I have to fix this.
Yeah.
And my favorite scene is when it's right after the barbershop. She thinks she's about to catch Joe. Well, sorry, Terry thinks it's about to catch Joe. And it grabs the other guy that was like dissing on Joe. Hey, sorry about that, mate. No need to worry about this, eh?
And he's like,
hey, it's not your time yet. That is, unless you keep eating those processed foods. And yeah, the whole time he's just like, he just died. He literally was ripped out of his body. And then
poor guy.
Hey, Terry, what's that? What? Moves over the beats. What? Were you even talking? Were we having a conversation? We resolved things with Terry.
Yeah, I just thought there all of these little side characters, you know how much I love the side characters. And all of these little side characters were so great. I loved his mom. I loved his
Mhm.
relationship there. And then when she pulls out like his dad's suit because she doesn't really want him to be pursuing, you know, this job. She wants him to get the full-time job at the school and, have something to fall back on. And then, but when it comes down to it, it's his dream. She says, let's get your dad's suit and let's get you there. And then she shows up with all of her friends,
Oh, the
and
ladies at this tailor shop.
they're
Give me a
so
kiss. Oh, you cougar! I knew it.
they're just so much fun. Again, just they put so much detail into the characters that you don't spend a whole lot of time with, but by the time you get to them and you're done with them, the whole 30 seconds, you feel like you just love them. You fall in love with them.
I will say I did love The Great Beyond. And like you said, it was funny how, they were putting them through these predetermined little things. They're like, you will have anxiety, you will be an introvert, you will not have a fun time on Earth.
Sammy, that's when she's like, Mom, that was me. And I'm like, yeah.
And then what's the one that it's like, I'm super aggressive and I'm gonna like basically run stuff down there.
Yeah. I thought that was great. But then at the end, when, they told him, no, you're wrong. It's just because you've gone through there and then you've found a spark that is supposed to spark you to get you to Earth. That doesn't mean that that's your thing. That just
You
means,
mentors thinking that you're
yeah,
finding a calling.
yeah, that's just because everyone has multiple things that they like to do, and everyone, has different personalities that they either love or they need to overcome. And again, he was stuck with, and she was stuck with, well, I can't find the one thing that's gonna be my thing, and I think that's okay. There was just a lot of really good side stories and lessons in this one. I would say that that was maybe like the one fault that I have with it is that there were a lot of things that it wanted you to learn instead of kind of honing you in, on one lesson. There was a lot of lessons to learn, so sometimes I got a little lost in what they were trying to tell us and then they brought us back to it. But all in all, I enjoyed this movie and I will watch it again for sure.
This is by far the most adult Pixar film I feel that has been made.
Yeah.
It's an animation. Younger kids, like I said, my 4-year-old, I think she enjoys it for the different reasons that I would enjoy it,
Yeah.
So, but I definitely feel that this is my personal thing is that it's more of an adult
Yeah.
feel to it.
For my
'Cause, like,
review that I gave it on stolendroids.com when it came out, is that it is adult because it takes on that tackling part of your life of kind of that midlife crisis and are you doing what you think you want to do in your life? But I think there's enough whimsy and enough silliness still in the movie that your kids are still going to follow along with you. Like you're going to have parts that you're watching, you're like, dang, that hit me hard. But your kids are going to be like, laughing and pointing at the silly cat and the cute little, kids in the before life and all that stuff. And so I think there's enough whimsy and magic and, characters and shiny objects for the kids. But I definitely think there's going to be a part of us that are in our almost to our midlife or in our midlife that are like, dang, Disney, way to punch me right in my soul. Exactly. All of that.
biggest problem, I feel I didn't get too much of a resolve at the end of this movie. I feel like it was cut off way too quick. Like I wanted another 20 minutes of so at the ending, Jerry's like, "What do you think you'll do?" And he's like, "I don't know, but I'm going to live my life to the fullest." I'm like, "Well, dude, you just went through a lot. Like, did you learn your lesson and you want to like pursue the career with Dorothea or in their troupe, or Are you satisfied being a school teacher, like passing on your love of music to these kids? Like, what? I want to know what you're going to do, not just see you walk out a door and say, I'm just going to live. Like, it wasn't enough for me.
And I think it's probably just because we're at two different places in our life. I get why that would seem unfinished to you, but I think also what they're trying to say is that you don't have to plan everything. Everything doesn't have to be planned, and he had this very specific plan, and now he's opened everything up. So now he's going to walk out that door and he's going to figure it out. Like he has a whole new outlook on life, literally. And he hasn't decided that. I think that's a whole nother movie, is for him to go and see, like, is he going to step into that classroom and hear that music differently and see those kids differently and see that now as a chance for him to mentor them? Or is he going to say, you know what, that's taking up too much time in my life and I'm going to focus all on music because I know I can do it. I've been holding myself back. Or is he going to do something totally different? Like, I think they're leaving up to us to figure out, because it was so planned before, and now he can kind of do whatever he wants because he has nothing constraining him.
See, and I wanted more of a mushy, like predictable ending, like where 22 is born, but like under some circumstances, somehow, you
He had
know,
to be their life.
say she was born and then automatically got put up for adoption or some scenario like that. And somehow, Jerry just didn't send him back. It made it so that he would somehow know that's 22, and like he adopts her, raises her, helps her in the new life. And I'm like, I just wanted a predictable ending like that.
Maybe he ends up dating her mom and becoming her dad anyway.
That too. That would be a wonderful story. That's something I can resonate with, because that's a scenario that I kind of had. Yeah.
I'll give him a call and say, look,
Guys, you got to do this better for Tyler, else he's going to give your first show a horrible
at
review.
least give us like a little soul short that kind of,
shows and like, yeah, leads to something.
like they did remember they did the Rapunzel short with the wedding through the town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like something like that. Like just tie it all up in a bow for Tyler. All right. So what is your grade for this movie?
You guys are going to butcher me for this. The movie couldn't hold me. I watched it just to purely get all the Easter eggs and just to give my best opinion. It's a C- for me.
Oh, wow.
It's not one of Pixar's.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't love it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So I obviously have a different take on it. I don't think it's the best, but I do give it a solid B. I think that the storyline, I think that it is definitely outside the box of what they've done before. I love the music. I love the animation. I love the characters. It isn't like a few of the Pixar movies where I'll watch it a bunch, but it was refreshing to me to see a story like this, to see some characters like this. But like you, I think that they owed us a little bit more of the story wherever they were going to put it. I didn't necessarily want a tied up ending like you wanted, but I think there was just something a little bit missing, and I don't know what it is. And I think they got a little like messy with some of the things they wanted us to find out and wanted to learn. So yeah, but I think it was a solid B for me. And I thought it was great performances. So across the board, it was the performances in this movie. The characters were great.
So this is going to be another one that you're going to say, oh, I feel like watching Soul today.
Yeah. Again, yeah, I'll probably watch it again in a couple of months. It's not going to be one like Finding Nemo. I could watch,
on the regular.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I was thinking about it the other day. Toy Story 2, I would watch Up. I can't watch as much as I want to just because it does make me cry. And sometimes I'm not in the mood to cry all the time. but I love it. This is definitely in the top 10, I think, of my Pixar favorites. But
Really? This is top 10 for you?
yeah, I
Wow.
really like what they did. I just really liked what they did. I thought it was definitely original and great, and it intrigues me. I wanted them to push a little bit further, but I'm happy. So
Yeah, this isn't one that I'm going to regularly be like, oh, I feel like watching Soul. Like, again, Alice might say, Dad, I want to watch Soul, and I'll turn it on just to turn it on, but it's not going to be like, I feel like watching Soul.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, hopefully you're going to like WandaVision as much as you think you are. And next week, we will be having our show at a different time because we are going to have a guest on our show, Tracy Mangum, who is on Movies That Make Us With Me. He just spent like almost 2 weeks in Disney
Yeah.
World. He was there doing his Dopey Challenge, which is he did a 5K, 10K half marathon. It got all the medals and it raised money for a charity. So we're going to be talking to him. We're going to be talking about WandaVision. There's probably one more thing we're going to talk about. I just don't remember what it is right now. There's a couple of announcements coming up. Disney has a couple of announcements that are coming. So we'll talk about all the announcements that are coming. WandaVision, of course, we would love to know what you think about Soul, what you think about WandaVision, what you think about anything Disney. Are you going to be going to the parks? Are you going to wait a year? We would love to hear all of that. You can email us at multiplanepodcast@gmail.com. You can also comment on here or message us on our Facebook or Instagram pages. Also, we need some movie ideas or some
Yeah,
television
guys.
show ideas to talk about. If not, then I'm going to pick the next one and Ty's going to suffer because there's some
Oh,
really
no.
good old movies on Disney Plus right now that I am just loving so much, and I might make Ty relive my childhood for a couple of episodes. So we'll see. So if you maybe they want to see that, I don't know. Maybe
Guys,
they like
find some movies. There, if, for those of you who don't know, there's an age gap here. There's two different sets
I'm
of.
41. And you're what,
I'm
like 21?
29.
29. Okay. So, but anyways, I think it makes for good conversations because we're covering
it's
the
fun.
gambit. Also, my daughter's 19, and you've got really littles.
Yep.
So, but we're covering the whole gambit there. So we will see you next week. Please stay tuned to Facebook to find out what day and time we will be on next week. And we loved all of your comments today. Thanks, you guys, so much. Multiplane
See ya.
Podcast.